We flew across the country to go thrifting in what was supposedly one of the hardest places to thrift in America, Los Angeles, California, and we were shocked by how much we found. Come along with us to see what we picked up. If you're new here, my name is Zach and I love vintage stuff, and today we're in Los Angeles, California, and we're looking for vintage. I wasn't sure if we were going to be able to find anything. It's our first time here, so I don't really know my way around here at all. Last night we went to a show at the Comedy Store. It was actually right across the street from our hotel. Then we went to this like Western, sort of like a steakhouse. What was that one called again?
The Saddle Ranch.
The Saddle Ranch, and it was like really cool. I took a couple videos of that place that I'm gonna add in here. But yeah, it was just like cool. There's like mannequins all over the place. We went in at like 11 p.m. and I think it's open till like 2 a.m. Allie got breakfast at 11 p.m. so it was like so cool. So this morning we're gonna go to an estate sale. I saw some pictures online that seemed kind of interesting. I have no idea what the estate sale scene is going to be like here. It could be crazy. There could be a million people that show up. I have no idea. All these houses seem really nice though, so hopefully we can find something good. In the pictures for the sale, there were a couple interesting things, but I wouldn't say that anything looked too crazy, so you never know. Let's go. Also, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I've been trying to post at least once a week and it's been so much fun. Now, let's go to the sale. So we got to the sale about 30 minutes early, and already outside of the house there was a line of 8 people. But I read online they were letting in the first 25 people, so I felt pretty confident we would get in with the first group. One interesting thing about this sale and every sale we went to in California was there was a security guard outside of each estate sale. I didn't want to be weird and film him when he was walking around, but you can kind of see him sitting on the front porch in this clip. I'm guessing there's a problem with theft at these high dollar estate sales. This house was super nice.
This house is $13 million.
Like Ali said, this house was $13 million. I knew it was going to be a nice house. Whenever I was driving up, the roads were so steep. It was literally in the hills. I've never really driven roads that were that steep. You really could not even see around different bends. You had to be really careful while driving. But even though this was a really expensive house, they did not have a lot of stuff. Like, most of the rooms were pretty bare. Something cool I saw were these Oakley ski goggles. There were 2 pairs of them. Back home, this is something I totally would have picked up, but since I was so far away, I figured I shouldn't buy them because I would have to ship them home. But looking back now, I ended up having to ship a bunch of stuff back home, so I guess I could have bought them, but this is just something that I don't really know if they're real or not, and I've had a hard time selling them in the past, so I wasn't sure. We did find a couple of really cool things in this house though, so I'll show you right after we get out of here, but here's a little glimpse right now. The view from this house was freaking amazing. I now realize why this was a multi-million-dollar house. They had a nice pool out back and just a crazy view. So we just got out of the sale and Allie killed it. So we ran in and there were pictures online of like where there was a couple goofy shirts. That's the only things I saw in the pictures I thought was like kind of interesting. And everyone ran to that room, but the shirts turned out to not be there. But Allie went and she found this jacket hanging up. Check this out. It's a Mighty Ducks like crew jacket from the movie. And on the front, it's got the Coca-Cola company, Mighty Ducks 2, and then it's on this vintage tag right here. It's like the highest quality jacket ever. And these people must have also worked on the Newsies. It's like Disney's The Newsies. And there's this like sweet jacket. See here, made in USA. And then we also found this Disney Newsies shirt. Turns out they moved the goofy shirts to like a completely different room, so I didn't get a chance to grab any of those, but I'm really happy with these finds. And the best find is from Allie. Cannot believe it. Wish you could come to all these sales with me. Alright, so I was able to find another sale. I don't know if this one's going to be good or not. It started at the same time that the other sale started, so it's probably like 45 minutes later. So who knows if there's going to be anything good or not, but it's worth a shot, so let's go. Alright, so when we got inside, we realized this house had a way different vibe than the last estate sale we went to. There was stuff everywhere, and there was about 1,000,000 people in this house. This woman was a big art collector and collected so many different things, so I'm guessing that's why a lot of people came to this sale. I'll show you more of everything she collected in a bit, but the first place we went was to this back bedroom that was filled with clothes. Most of the clothing in here was women's from the 80s and 90s. They were from department stores and didn't really have brands on them. They were just sort of generic clothing, but they were all really nice quality. There was also a lot of bins on the floor that didn't really seem like anybody had even noticed or looked through them, so I started digging in. I'm sure we missed some cool stuff when the sale first opened, but we did end up grabbing a couple cool things, so it was definitely worth digging in this room. Oh, that's cool.
Isn't that super cool?
Yeah. So here's a better look at some of the artwork and other things in the house. One thing about this place was it was trinket tchotchke central. If I lived closer to here, I totally would have bought way more from the sale than I did. Like specifically, there's this wooden clock that's really cool. There's like these vintage butterfly things everywhere. So much great stuff. It just totally would have been a hassle to ship it back home.
Look how cool that is.
I always heard that thrifting in California and just going to estate sales out here was way more expensive than what it is on the East Coast, but the ones we went to, everything was pretty fairly priced and wasn't that much more expensive. It was pretty much like the same prices at an estate sale on the East Coast, so I was really surprised by that. Alright, so what'd you find?
I found my picture of a mother and baby seal.
But it's actually signed by the artist in pencil down here.
We think it's an indigenous Canadian artist named Enoch Manomi. Does anybody know who that is? It says additional things on the back about him, and that he was a famous soapstone carver, and there were a lot of soapstone carvings in there. There was very interesting stuff, very intriguing.
We're far away from home, but we thought this was cool enough to buy. So a couple of the other things we found. I grabbed this. I don't know. This was with. Okay, so I'll show you these first. I found these two calendars. This one's from 1979. I was showing you this other one when we were in there, but yeah, I thought that was really interesting. And then this piece of artwork was just like in there, so I grabbed it too. I don't even know anything about that. But then I found this voodoo doll. I'm not sure why I bought this, but I've never actually seen one in person, so I was like, why not? And then we never heard of this brand, but this thing was like $10, so Invicta. And then it had a little Smurf on there, but yeah, I never heard of this brand before. But then whenever I flip this to look at the tag, this tag looks vintage to me, so I'm not really sure how old this thing is. It might not be old, but it's definitely interesting. And then a few of the other things we found. This Beverly Hills Polo Club size XL. This thing's from, I think, around the 80s, but it's very interesting the way the sleeves are. I'll have to lay this thing out so you can get a better look at it, but I really like the pattern on it. And then this is the other jacket. Allie found this one in the room. Fool's Russian Film Crew 1996. No idea what movie that is. But it's kind of crazy that you can find movie stuff in Los Angeles. Like, it's kind of weird we found all that. So I was able to figure out that Fools Rush In was a movie that came out in 1997 and starred Matthew Perry. I guess the original owner worked on this film crew or just somehow got this jacket. It's kind of wild that Allie even noticed the embroidery on the pocket. It was really hard to see, and the jacket didn't say anything else about the movie anywhere else on it, just on the pocket, so that's crazy. So we didn't really plan on doing any other thrifting this day. We decided to go down to Santa Monica. We've never been anywhere in California, so we decided to go down here. We really wanted to check out this burger place called Heavy Handed, and the burgers here were amazing. It was definitely worth checking out. There was a lot of really cool stores on the street, but one of the stores that we parked right across the street from it, was 2nd Street. If you guys have been following me on Instagram or anywhere else, you might have noticed that I like to go to these stores. Sometimes you can find some really cool vintage stuff, and I was curious how it would be out in California because I've only been to ones on the East Coast. If you've never been to 2nd Street before, it's pretty much like Plato's Closet, except they sell designer, streetwear, and vintage. I'd say they mostly sell designer and streetwear, but if you look hard enough, you can find some vintage stuff sometimes. And I was shocked. The prices here were just the same as they were back home, if not maybe better. A lot of the vintage shirts I found were either $5.99 or $12.99, which is pretty good considering most of the thrift store prices nowadays are like at least $6 per item, if not more. I filmed a lot in this store, just kind of showing everything that I saw and what I picked up and didn't pick up, but at the end of this video I'll show you my entire haul of everything that I bought in this store. I didn't get a chance to film the haul like right after I walked out, but I'll show you at the end. There's a lot of cool stuff that I sort of wanted to pick up, but maybe the price was just a little bit off. Like, I really like this Stromboli shirt. It was so funny, but it was just a little bit too expensive. It's just so random. I'm not sure why this shirt was more expensive than the other ones. I mean, I can't really blame them on that one. It was a really funny shirt, but typically at these stores, the things are priced so randomly that you just never know until you look at like every shirt in this place. One shirt that I was really surprised to see on this rack was this Shorty skateboard shirt. This is a skateboard brand that was popular in the mid to late 90s. I've personally never found one before, and you guys will have to let me know a little bit more information about it. A lot of these skateboard brands have brought back their designs over the years, so it's sort of hard to tell unless you really know what you're talking about if it's actually a vintage shirt or not, but it looks close enough for me to take the gamble of $13 and buy it. It's not made in the USA, but it's made from fabric in the USA, and that's something that they pretty much stopped doing in the early 2000s, so that's a good sign. This store also had an Ass Pizza Pokemon shirt, and I thought that was really cool to see because this design didn't come out that long ago. While I was looking through the men's section, Allie was over in the women's section, and she pulled out a bunch of cool vintage stuff too. All these 2nd Street stores, it's important to like look through every section because they just put stuff in the most random places. So she pulled out a lot of really cool stuff. I specifically like that Eddie Bauer zip-up jacket. Here's a good example of why you should look through the whole store. As I was about to leave, I noticed there's actually a vintage rack. Most of these stores have this, but I figured after I walked around and didn't see it, I figured there wasn't one in the store, but there actually was. The store was just so big that I completely missed this on my first time around. Like, all those other t-shirts that I picked up were all in the men's t-shirt section, not even in the vintage one. This section had a little bit of higher price shirts. Like, I didn't pick up any of the ones here, but I just had to show you guys because there were some cool ones that weren't crazy prices or anything, but they definitely were a little bit too high for me to buy. This Bob Marley shirt was really cool. It was vintage, but they were asking $100, so that was just a little bit too much. Well, that was everything we found in there. Here's a little funny video that Allie took of me checking out. I'm really happy we stopped in there. I found so much great stuff that I wasn't even expecting to. Like I said, we were just gonna not thrift the rest of the day. But after that, we ended up going to the Santa Monica Pier. That was really cool to see, and right next door to it was the original Muscle Beach where people used to work out on the beach. Now, there was some workout equipment still there, but it wasn't like barbells or anything. And later on in the day, we went down to Venice Beach. It wasn't too far away, and that's where the new Muscle Beach is. I'm assuming the old one was pretty similar to this one. When we walked by, there wasn't too many people working out, but I'm really curious if it gets super crowded at some points. We also hung around and watched people skateboard for a while. We even saw a woman in a wheelchair going up and down the ramps, and that was like so awesome to see. She was so good. That's pretty much everything we did in our first full day in California. The next day we woke up bright and early to head over to the Silverlake Flea Market. I've been hearing about this one for a while, so I was really excited to check it out. Good morning, everybody. Today we're at the Silverlake Flea Market. It's like 8 a.m. and everybody's not really set up yet. I wasn't sure what time to get here at. Obviously, I've never been here before, so I had no idea. Hopefully we can find something cool. It's on a Saturday. I think it's multiple days a week, so maybe we'll find something good. I don't know what we're going to do for the rest of the day, but we're gonna have some fun, so come along with us, see what we can find. So like I mentioned, we got to the flea market at around 8 a.m. and after talking to some of the sellers, that's pretty much the best time to get there because you can get some of the best deals. And after I took a lap around, pretty much everybody was completely set up by like 8:30. Now, this isn't a typical flea market. This is more of like a vintage market where some of the best vendors in LA come and set up every single week. So it's definitely worth coming to check out. They even had an indoor area where you can go if it's like raining or something. It wasn't set up by the time I left the flea market, but I'm sure on days when it's raining, it'll be completely set up. Here's a couple things that I picked up while I was there. I'll show you guys my entire haul at the end of the video, but I ended up finding a lot of really cool stuff. After we left the flea market, we figured why not go and try to find some garage sales, so that's where we're heading. All right, so we just pulled up. I found a garage sale, but it turns out to be an estate sale, so we're gonna go inside and see what we can find. Let's go. So when we got inside, they actually moved most of the stuff outside into the backyard. So I guess that's why they sort of called it a garage sale, sort of an estate sale. It was like kind of in the middle. It was just such a beautiful day outside. It was 73 degrees and sunny. When I saw all these clothes outside, I didn't know where to look first, but I saw a bunch of vintage sweatshirts sitting on this table here, so I decided to start there. But I ended up looking through every piece of clothing in this place because I was really hoping to find something good. There was also this ancient chest full of like vintage baby stuff here. That's not what I look for, but I'm sure somebody would have freaked out about this. In the corner of the yard here, I saw these boxes and bags full of t-shirts, and I was like so hopeful about it because I just found all those sweatshirts on the table, but after digging through everything, they weren't old shirts at all. Most of them were pretty new. The only thing I ended up finding in this box and in those bags was a vintage Gap shirt. It was like a striped long sleeve. It was really random for it to be in here considering all the other shirts were t-shirts, but it was definitely cool to find something at least. And like I mentioned, there was barely anything in any of the rooms of the house, so it was kind of a strange sale. But I'm really happy we stopped though, because it was a lot more than just a random garage sale like I originally thought. Don't get stuck by the cactus. Alright, so I just got out of that estate sale. Everything was $1 a piece. This one was really stained, but
Cute.
It's on this
Plant the earth.
it's like an 80s sweatshirt. Yeah, a couple Pacific Lutheran sweatshirts for $1 a piece. And then this one I thought was really cool. Look at this. Font's really cool. And 80s. And then the last thing is this Gap shirt. Super nice. So we decided to stop at one more sale. We weren't really sure if we were going to stop at this one or not because it started an hour before we got there. They did say they had a lot of clothes, so I figured it might be worth it just to check it out because you never know. This sale also had a lot of trinkets just like that other sale we went to, but I was there for the clothes, so I headed upstairs to see what they had. And when I got up there, I was shocked to see this vintage Star Trek jacket hanging on one of the racks. I was really scared at what this would be priced at because they didn't have prices on anything, so you kind of just had to go up and ask what the prices were for every individual piece of clothing. Plus, I'm there an hour after the sale started, so I thought, oh, this thing is going to be so expensive, but I figured I would ask anyway.
I really don't know.
They also had a bunch of these Stephen Hawking tank tops. What the hell is up with this? Alright, so we just got out of that estate sale. It was in this weird little apartment thing, and there was a ton of people in there, so I wasn't able to film that much, but I found this Star Trek 4 jacket. This was 40 bucks. I don't know how this was still there, because I mean the sale started at least an hour ago, and this thing is really nice, so 40 bucks, hell yeah. And then I also found this for 7 bucks. It's like a crop sweatshirt, Beverly Hills. Super cool. Yeah, I don't know how that was still left over, but I guess that just goes to show you never know what might still be in there even if the sale happened like an hour or two ago. I don't know what we're doing now. Might not thrift anymore. Maybe we will. Who knows? Let's go. Also, look at Allie's shirt today. We didn't end up doing any more thrifting, but I did want to highlight a really cool restaurant we stopped at. This is Barney's Beanery. We'd never heard of this before, but it was in West Hollywood and we just walked by and decided to go in. This place opened in 1927 and is one of the coolest dive bars I've ever been to. There were like beer signs everywhere. When you looked up at the ceiling, there were literal beer signs stuck to the ceiling. I've never seen anything like that. I knew this place was going to be cool when I saw this Spuds MacKenzie light chilling up there. The menu at this place was massive. I ended up getting wings and they were so good. They also just had a lot of great deals in general. If you guys are around West Hollywood, you should definitely go check this place out. I think there's other locations too, but this one was the original. So that's every vintage thing we got to do when we were in LA. Now, there was a lot that we didn't get to do, but I think we knocked out a lot of cool stuff in the short time we had there. Now it's time for the haul portion. I'm starting off with everything I got at Silverlake Flea Market. You might see some price tags on some of these things, but a lot of the sellers will let you bundle, and I ended up paying around $10 to $15 per piece. So it was a little bit higher than thrift store prices, but still great deals for the quality of items that I got. Also, I forgot to mention what I paid for the Mighty Ducks jacket and that Newsies jacket. I paid $60 for the Mighty Ducks one and $70 for the Newsies one. I felt like the Mighty Ducks jacket's got to be worth more than $100, so I figured the price kind of evens out, even though the Newsies jacket was a little bit more expensive, even though I consider that one the less valuable one. And here's a better look at everything we picked up from 2nd Street. If you guys have a 2nd Street around you, you should definitely go check it out. They're like a buy, sell, trade kind of place too, so you can bring stuff in and trade for other stuff in the store, or they give you cash. Also, this isn't an ad for them or anything, like they did not pay me. I just really enjoy going to their stores. Thrifting in LA turned out to be a lot different than I expected. The prices weren't nearly as high as everyone made them out to be. Maybe I just went to the right places, and maybe some of the more like common places to go are more expensive. I also didn't go to any thrift stores at all, and maybe that is way different over there. But yeah, I think if you look hard enough, you can still find good deals out there, and it was a lot of fun. Really appreciate you guys watching to the end of this video. These types of videos are really fun to make, and I can't wait to travel around more to make more videos like this. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to my channel. Like I said, I've been trying to post at least one video a week, and it's been so much fun making them, so thank you again for watching.